So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and a new rambles. So I know I said last week that there wasn't much happening this week in World of Tanks, and I still managed to ramble on for about 50 minutes or somebody kindly pointed out in my in my comments. But this time there really isn't very much going on, so this should be quite quick. But we're going to have a look at a new Q&A based around the 9.20 patch. A new upcoming tier 8 premium tank, some diversification, shall we say, from World of Tanks themselves, and some other interesting bits and bobs that I've picked up around the web this week. So anyway, let's dive straight in with an update on 9.2. So another set of Q&As, this time hosted on the Daily Bounce. These are responses to sort of Q&As from the 9.20 patch that we just had. I don't think they tell us a huge amount, but let's have a look. You've tested and changed British vehicles in the super test. Why weren't they implemented in this update? And they said, while we presented you early concepts that give you some opportunity to share your feedback, they're most of the time not finalised. When vehicle balancing improvements hit the super test, they're normally at a very early stage. So basically they're not sure whether they're going to implement the British changes. So looks like we'll have to live with shit British tanks for a little bit longer. Update 9.20 was supposed to make climbs boosts impossible on some maps, but the changes haven't helped. What's your official statement about climbs and boosts? And we're going to continue to see changes to prevent players from climbing and getting boosts. So mixed on this one. I have seen too many games where tanks waste first 3 or 4 minutes of the game trying to get up a hill into an impossible position, and don't really help the team at all, and just for that one game where they absolutely dominate from. And I know my old friend Shoot and Scoot is a big climber, big into climbing. And there is definitely an occasion where it helps and it's relevant, actually a good idea. And there's some small climbs you can do. I'm thinking Cliff, for instance, those hills up in the north where you can now climb onto and you can fire down from. It's sort of almost a counterbalance to the actual lighthouse. And those things seem reasonable to me, but I just think so many people waste so much time. I would not be disappointed if climbing was stopped, but it seems like they're not entirely being blocked out. I'm not a big climber myself, so I don't really know, but it seems from what that question is saying that it hasn't solved the problem, inverted commas. So the response was, if there are still zones that should not be accessible, please give us the detailed feedback in the forums. We're continuously analysing your feedback and our map statistics to get this issue under control. So it seems like they want to stop it happening from that. What is the frequency of ground battles compared to other game modes? So ground battles is the tier 10 only mode where you can get 30v30 on the extra big map. Seen a lot of moans on Facebook groups I'm a member of about people complaining about them never getting the ground battle. I think half the time it's because they don't realise it is only a tier 10 thing, but it doesn't seem to come around as often as you might expect. They are saying you have a 10% chance of getting into the ground battle, and the chance of getting a standard battle is 60. Encounter or assault is 15 each. So 60, 15, 15, 10 is your percentage chance if you're in a tier 10 vehicle. But the numbers can differ considerably when fewer players are online. Well, that makes sense. 30v30s would take a lot of players out of the base, and if there's not many playing tier 10s, that could really cause a few headaches, so I can understand that. Are you going to increase the ammunition some tanks can carry because of ground battles? I think this was asked some time ago, and they said no, because they didn't think that it was necessary. And that's what they've said. Right now, it doesn't seem like this change is needed. Nevertheless, we'll keep looking at stats, and if it affects the game too negatively, we will reconsider and find a solution for this issue. So no. Are personal missions and achievements available in Grand Battle mode. So we know you can complete personal missions and earn achievements. However, the achievements are a little bit harder than they would normally be. So a Top Gun on Grand Battle mode is 8 tanks destroyed, not 6. Radley Waters is 10 to 12 rather than the 8 to 9 on a traditional battle. Paul's Medal, 13 to 20 destroyed enemy in one battle, whereas it's normally 10 to 13. And Resnali's Heroes Medal, destroy at least 21 enemy vehicles in one battle, whereas at the moment it's 14 or 15 in a standard game. So the medals get harder, but the personal missions are just as simple as to accomplish. So therefore, by inference, that much easier because you've got more tanks to. And I do remember one of the Q&As on this before. They said, well, okay, so there's more available hit points to get, there's more targets to hit, but also there's more people firing at you, right? So in 30v30, while it would seem like you've got a better chance of doing your missions, you also got more chance of being killed. So, it balances out, and I kind of get that. When can we expect the next season of ranked battles? So that's that 30v30 where you can earn lots and lots of bonds, which actually you can earn now in regular tier 10 games and in the battle modes as well. So yeah, you can earn bonds that way. So the second beta session of ranked battles is going to start at the second half of September and will last for 3 weeks. More details are to follow. So I've talked about this on Rambles before. I don't like the ranked battles mode. I love the setup. The maps are fantastic. It's nice to have something different to play. But all you get is stat twats. Oh no, hang on. What did she call them the other day? I've got to remember this. Ego Warriors. Ego Warriors. What a great title. So you use whatever you like. Stat twats or Ego Warriors. But you just got them on these maps and they would just sit at the back with tanks completely loaded up with premium rounds and just make sure that they were farming damage, because that's how they succeeded and got more bonds, and that just annoyed the bejesus out of me. If you think there was enough gold flying around in standard battles, these Ego Warriors in ranked battles, wow, they were firing gold everywhere. Are you planning to introduce an option to earn bonds for lower tiers? Bonds should not be in the game. Point. Finished. As far as I'm concerned, it gives everybody an unfair bonus who owns them over those who don't own them, and that's wrong. And it's generally the better players that get them in enough quantities to make them useful in terms of buying specialist equipment and stuff, and they're already better than most players, and therefore they then get an extra bonus for being better because they've got bonds. It's just not right. Should not happen in my view. But they're saying we plan to make bonds more accessible, and in future we're going to give the possibility to earn bonds through a wider range of in-game activities that are not restricted to certain game modes or limited to certain vehicle tiers. However, bonds will remain a reward for players' performance, effort and dedication. Well, yeah, I've said enough about bonds. Shouldn't be there. Are you going to introduce more maps for Grand Battles? We're now looking forward to hearing your opinion about this mode. Please join the forums and share your feedback. We will decide the improvements and additions of Grand Battles, including new maps, based on your feedback. So basically, if you don't say anything, they won't do it. I mean, it's nice to have a new map, but you do get bored when it's the same one keeps coming around. But if you're only getting it 10% of the time, it doesn't come around that regular. So, I think we need more maps, full stop, period. And I know somebody said in one of the comments in an earlier video about, careful what you wish for. Do we want lots of more corridor maps and, sort of shitty maps that there are from time to time from wargaming? No, of course we don't. But we do want decent maps. We want new maps, and I just think variety is what you want. Is it possible to attain the Foch 155 in the future? So the 155 was obviously the tier 10 French tank destroyer that was removed from the game in this patch 9.2 and replaced with the Foch B, the most overpowered tier 10 in the game at the moment, in my humble opinion, from what I've seen. And the Foch 155 was given a boost, and anybody who owned it got the new Foch B for free, and they get to keep their Foch 155 as a premium. And yeah, as I say, just like wow, seriously, wargaming. You put that Foch B into the game, it's like a Waffle Traeger U100, that overpowered German auto-loading TD that you took out the game because it was too OP, and you've put it back in effectively with a French flavour. Yeah, good job. So basically, they're saying there's no plans to reintroduce the Foch 155 to the tech tree, so it's rather unlikely it will return. However, fans who have it in their games, blah blah blah, will keep it. Right. Now, we've heard this from Wargame before. We'll never sell the mutant. We'll never sell the mutant. We're going to sell the mutant. So I'm, pinch of salt here, but it does seem unlikely the Foch 155 will make a return anytime soon. So those of you who have that tank, you've still got it, hold on to it because it's a collector's item, frankly. So according to this site, mmowg.net, which I think is an Italian website, have a look at it from time to time, they are saying that the Tier 8 Russian medium tank, the SGG or the STG Guard, will be coming to the store on September the 9th, which is Friday, isn't it? Friday? Oh, Saturday, sorry. Saturday. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they're saying. And the cheapest package, €35.80, which is about in line for a Tier 8 premium medium tank. So what is the SGG Guard? Well, we talked about this a couple of months ago. This is Tier 8 Russian premium medium tank. It's a bit like the Object 416. It's a flat-bedded thing with a very low silhouette, rear-mounted turret, but pretty effective. It's basically sacrifices DPM for a big boomstick. That's all you need to know, really. 1,350 health, engine's 400 horsepower, but it only weighs 28 tons, so it gives it a top speed of 50 kph and a power to ratio of 14.29. Traverse speed is pretty good, 47, near enough. Turret traverse is 36.5, and it has a view range of 370 base. Armour 100mm on the hull, 45. The turret is very good, 210, extremely good. 180 on the side, 45 on the rear. Can't see, but our gun depression is only minus. Well, it's actually not too bad. Gun depression is -6, so yeah. Comes with 122mm, sorry, which gives out an average DPM of 1,700. That's what I mean. Not a good DPM tank, but penetration is pretty good. 211 with standard rounds, 248 with premiums, and 61 with HE for 390 average damage. So pretty big boomstick. 4.47 rounds per minute. Reload time of 13.4. Accuracy is very, very good. 0.31 accuracy is outstanding, actually. That's really, really good for a medium tank. An aim time of 2.21. So yeah, you lose DPM. It's very low DPM. 1700 on a Tier 8 is not great, but you make up for it for accuracy and actual damage. 390 average damage is pretty darn good. So if that's of interest to you, it's coming to the store very, very soon. Now finally, I am not buying this tank. I've got too many premiums. I've spent far too much money. I can't afford to buy another one. But if you do and you're going to buy it, let me know down below. Are you desperate for a Russian medium premium tank? If you are, this could be the one. So news is a little bit thin on the ground this week, so I'm resorting to talking about rumours and innuendos. So this is a story that appeared on a Russian blog, Rozgotzos, whatever, Russian blog. This is Google Translate of the page, so forgive the language a little bit wobbly. This is apparently reporting on a wargaming employee talking on Reddit. And it's interesting for a couple of reasons, because they're talking about the Chieftain Mark 6, which was Well, this is a constant source of angst and anger amongst many players, particularly British players, that World of Tanks still does not have the Chieftain Mark 6, yet it has lots of fantasy tanks. The Mark 6 is obviously a genuine, beautiful looking tank and should be in the tech tree somewhere, but I think it's in Blitz, but it's not in the World of Tanks PC. So they are quoting the fact the main reason the vehicle has not been implemented in the game is that we're trying to fill up the line from the Churchill gun carriage, and we need to make sure players really want this tier 10. Now, that's a weird thing to suggest. I mean, yeah, I don't get that. Churchill gun carrier to a challenger, chieftain. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Interestingly, the rumour still bubbles around, and there's some weirdly weird comments in this thing, and they're talking about the idea to remove the Churchill gun carriage next thing and create a transition similar to that in the German branch between the Jag Panther 2 and the Ferdinand. So we'll see whether that's the case. I mean, I think it's they did tease us this Gamescom with a picture of the chieftain in the background on the garage. So who knows? Maybe it is definitely coming. Now, what's more interesting is the Polish tree established ETA 2018-2019. Now that seems a long way off. 2018 I can believe, but 2019 seems surprising to me, unless they've had a few problems with balancing the tanks out. My personal guess is early 18 we'll get the Polish tech tree. It seems to have taken a lot longer to come through. I think everyone expected an announcement at Gamescom, never came. Italian tree 2018-2019 with the emphasis on 19 to silence the Polish community. Okay, so don't know what I mean about Polish silence in the Polish community. I guess what they mean is the fact it's going to take they want to basically make sure the Poles are happy before they then do the Italian tech tree. Frankly, I've talked about this last rambles. I love the idea of an Italian tech tree, but I'm slightly weird, I recognise that. The Chinese tank destroyer turned out to be a bullseye, and they were sold. Turned out to be a bullseye, and if they were sold, then Japanese behavioural problems would not be there. I have no idea what that means, so we won't even comment on that. There will be new premium tanks. There's also an idea to transfer some of the bonus from the super test into the technology tree. Don't know what that second means, but we know there's new premiums on the way. SDB, the French tank destroyer. Now, interestingly, the AMX Canon Dassault, which I did a quick video on based on stats you could see in the test server. There was a very interesting video that QuickieBabe put up of him playing it at Gamescom, and it looks like quite a fun tank. Now, he was speculating, and it makes a lot of sense. We have nothing to go on, and he made it very clear he doesn't know for sure, but he was speculating that they might put an autoloader on that French TD. Now, if they do that, that could be really interesting, and it would have a certain logic, because all the French TDs 8, 9 and 10 all would have autoloaders, including the premium tank, if they did that. So who knows, but it does seem to have been ready for a while. The fact that QuickieBabe was able to play it at Gamescom as well, the stats were, the tank was in the test server, even if you couldn't play it, tend to suggest it was pretty close to being launched, but it wasn't. So are they going to put an autoloader on it? It could be interesting if they do. Would certainly be a bit different. Yeah, and would definitely be in keeping with the higher tier French TDs if they did. So, thoughts on the Chieftain? Let me know down below. Thoughts on the Italian and Polish tech trees and why it's taking so long for them to come through. And what about this French TD? Would you want to see it with a autoloader? Could be pretty evil if it does. Probably sell very well, which of course wouldn't be a primary consideration of why they do it. Anyway, thoughts down below, please. Now this is truly bizarre, and definitely in that only in Russia category. Armoured Patrol here, but pretty much all the blogs talked about this. World of Tanks has its own range of snacks now. So while you're playing the game, you can snack on crackers or peanuts or various crisps or seeds that come World of Tanks branded and have bonus codes or invite codes, magnetic pictures of the Great Patriotic War. Wow. Presumably only available in Russia, but I expect collectors of you will be trying to get your hands on these to keep them for posterity, or maybe not. I don't know. Makes me feel quite hungry. What the hell is that? No idea. I know that's salami, but what that one is, I have no idea. Cheese, must be some kind of cheese. Anyway, I thought it was quite amusing. Branded crisps and snacks. So I missed this with last week Rambled. It came in just after I'd put the video up, but this is the care of the Daily Bounce. This is the September specials list for the EU server. Sorry, North America, I don't have that. I only have the EU one because that's where I'm based. So the WZ11111115A Chinese tier 10 heavy tank is top of the tree. So that means 50% on all the low tier tanks in that line, 30% on the medium and heavy tanks. Oh, sorry, the middle tier and high tiers. So from the Type 58 up to the WZ111115A, you'll get 30% off, which is outstanding. Plus you get 50% extra crew bonus on every vehicle in that line, which is very good. And there's a number of missions available through there. So we talked about we're too late for the weekend one, which was basically a whole load of free XP. Well, it was ×3 XP, which was outstanding, really good. I don't know about you guys, but I knocked the bejesus out of that and got some of my crew up to very good levels using ×3 for every game. Very nice. This weekend coming, the 9th, we have another ×3, but only for your first victory of the day, which can be quite challenging in a weekend, obviously, and discount on selected regular and premium heavy tanks. So it's a heavy tank special coming up. 16th to 19th of September, ×2 crew experience. I think that'll probably be on all games, which is good. Presumably you have to be in the top 10 or something. And discount on regular and premium medium tanks. So medium tank weekend that weekend. And then the final weekend of the month, 23rd to the 26th, is Experience Fever event. Players will be able to grind faster even if using premium tanks. Well, we'll see what that means. ×3 experience the first victory of the day. So a few good things coming. Not the most scintillating, and certainly myself I could do with some discounts on equipment. I could really do with that, but doesn't look like that's coming anytime soon, which is sad. So there you go. I promised it wouldn't be a very long one this week, so there you go. Hope you found it interesting and useful. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, please. And in the meantime, enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously, and I will see you again soon. Gamer Dom out.